Welcome, everybody, to the Doctoral Education Subcommittee for the American Art Therapy Association. We're here today to talk about the doctoral journey. And I'm Lisa Hines. I'm the director of the doctoral program at Dominican University. And I'll allow the other panel members to introduce themselves, and then we'll talk about the doctoral education journey. Let's start with Dr. Nancy Gerber.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Hello, everyone. I'm Nancy Gerber, and I was the creator and former director of the PhD in Creative Arts Therapies at Drexel University. And now I'm teaching at Florida State University. So I've had many years of experience studying doctoral education and also implementing it and teaching. Um, Michelle, how about you?
Hi, I'm Michelle Fornash. I am a music therapist, but I am here representing Lesley University, which has a PhD program in expressive therapies that encompasses all the arts therapies. And I've been the director. This coming year will be our 19th year of doing a low residency PhD program in expressive therapies. And I'm really happy to be part of this group, even though I'm not an art therapist.
Wow,
I'll pass
19.
it over to Danielle.
Hey, I'm Danielle. I recently graduated from FSU's doctoral program for art therapy research and practice. And right now I'm slowly building up my private practice and applying to different teaching positions to become faculty. So I'm excited to be here, and I'll pass it to Christine.
Hi everyone, I'm Christine Pang and I am a second year doctoral student at Dominican University of California, currently completing my PhD in art therapy. I am a provisional registered art therapist and also associate marriage and family therapist. So I'm also working in school-based art therapy and private practice at the same time.
Thank you, everyone. And since we have such a range of people and experiences, we thought we'd start this recording about the doctoral education journey by asking, what do you wish you had known before you started this journey? Or what advice would you give someone as they're beginning their doctoral education journey? So, as the youngest member, can we start with you, Christine?
Yeah, of course. So that's a great question. And I think one of the things I've learned during my time in the program is that this journey of completing a doctorate is not just an intellectual one. I think that was my perception of it coming into the program, that I would be focused on research and just really expanding my knowledge, intellectual knowledge. But I've really come to see that it touches so many different areas. It's a very personal journey. It's a journey, a relational journey in community. And then it's also an intellectual one. So I would say that for people who are coming into a doctoral program to just really be open to the number of experiences that you're going to have and what you're going to find out about yourself. That's to start off.
Great.
Yes, that's great. Yeah. Danielle, what about you? You're straddling both. How do you
Yes.
answer that question?
Oh, well, Christine, you said it beautifully. I came in too thinking of, okay, I'm going to do this like a master's, learn all this information, do the research, and then I'm going to go be this faculty. And then you start to realize like, whoa, this is a long time, and you're doing deep dives that challenge your own thinking, that challenge things that you've thought for your whole life. And then it's like this interpersonal struggle because you're kind of like one of the only people going through it. You do have a cohort, but we're all busy trying to figure out our own things, and we make a little bit of community, but your life is still happening. You're still practicing sometimes, or you're working, or you're having a family. So many different things are happening that it is very life changing. And then also being gentle with yourself that it can change. Like you might come in with this type of research like thought and like, oh, this is what it's going to look like. I got it. And then you might veer to something totally different because you're reading and being exposed to so many different things that your passion could take you a different way. And my eyes were very much open to arts-based research. I came in thinking like that meant scientific model, like, oh, it's got to look like this. I got the lab coat on and I'm going to
Mhm.
ask these questions. And then like you were saying, it's so personal and it's so like you do as art therapists, we're doing artwork throughout this process too. And that's telling you so much about yourself as well and how you're taking this journey. So yes, being open, being gentle with yourself and understanding like this is a huge endeavor and it is not a rush. I think there was like some type of like, I need to finish it by this time. Like, I'm not going to be able to like, I have to do this. Like, I was very regimented. Like, I can't do anything until I finish this. And then life will show you you can do many things. And then having such a great faculty, making sure that you kind of have advisors that are there, not just for the intellectual part, but that emotional part too, that they can sit in some of this like ambiguousness that you have to kind of battle too. So a lot. I have a lot, but I loved it. And I'm always very happy. I think what was the next one? Like, what advice would you give?
What
It's like,
advice? Sure.
yes, jumping into that one too. Like, I would give so much advice of just like, I'm ready to be there. Call me. I love like if anybody's thinking about a PhD, do it.
Hmm. I think people what you said about this isn't like a master's degree where you're crammed full of information and then sent out to practice. It's a very almost a luxurious journey of learning about the field in a very broad sense. And so I would advise people be open to everything that you're going to learn and don't expect that it's necessarily a practical degree. It's not. It's a they call it a doctorate of philosophy for a reason. So, yeah. Nancy or Michelle, what advice would you give to somebody just starting out this journey or contemplating the journey?
I'll start. So I have a couple of thoughts. It's funny, before we started recording, we were talking about, do we remember our doctoral journeys? And mine was a long time ago and I have no memory of it whatsoever. But I've been running this program here for a number of years. And I think both Christine and Danielle have highlighted a lot of things that I want to elevate because those are such important perspectives. And it has to do with, this is a complicated and complex and beautiful journey that you can't really understand or anticipate, and you have to get into it to really do that. And it is very much about, you have to learn this, you have to learn about quant, qual, and art space, and that's basic knowledge. But then it's about the doing. It's about the doing of your research and how do we factor in for different complexities of the communities we're working with and people who are different from ourselves and all of that. And it's also a really interesting balance for me of work in the cohort, which both of you referenced, this idea of you have cohorts that you work with, but you also have a lot of work you have to do on your own. And so it's this balance of, yes, I have all the support from my advisor, my committee, my cohort mates, and there's an expectation that you are an independent scholar. And that, for me, is one of the things that students struggle with. And it's also the idea, I think Danielle said this, you have to think about rewiring your brain.
Yeah.
You're going to think about the world
Right?
differently. You're going to see the world differently, and you're going to respond to things differently. And that's not that's not what you get in a master's program. This is really about thinking and seeing the world in a different way. So I feel like Christine and Danielle, you laid such a beautiful foundation there. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I think the only thing that I wanted to add was that when I designed the program at Drexel, I was clear that it was philosophical in many ways and that I didn't want it to be a vocational program, that it was, I included philosophy, ethics, literature as part of the anthropology, as part of the required coursework for interdisciplinary studies. And we included a lab, which was a self-other artistic inquiry lab, where we studied together what our experiences were when we created art in the presence of others. And then, of course, there were the research courses, which were the more practical, pragmatic courses. But But it was very clear to me that I did not want students coming into this program learning things rotely, that I wanted them to learn how to think. And I still ascribe to that, because I do believe what Christine and Danielle talked about. The doctoral program is life-changing, and you have to be open. When I did my research on doctoral education, I remember I interviewed a lovely woman who was a dance movement therapist. And she said the one thing when I started my doctorate, because wanted to interview people about doctoral education, and she said, the one thing that I learned was how much I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, I also then began to learn what I did know. And she said that's how she described part of her humility in doctoral education, because I do think humility is important in doctoral education, to be humble, to not, like Danielle said, be open to the fact that you will be humbled by how much you don't know and how much there is to learn. And so if you like learning, if you're excited by learning and creative learning, then it's a wonderful place to be.